Hello, my name is Kristen Ortiz, and today I will be doing a lesson on The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. The goal of the lesson is for all students, especially those with ADHD, to properly identify and label make-believe foods. I provide the students with make-believe food, as well as the labels with the name of the food on them, and the labels with the days of the week. That way they can label the day that the food was eaten and label the make-believe food. All of this will take place while I am reading the book. So I'll stop periodically throughout the book and ask students questions, as well as ask them to identify the food that's being introduced in the book and label it with the proper label and the day of the week. As you can see as well is the labels are big enough, the font is big enough on the label that students with visual difficulties are still able to read it without having trouble. That way they too can participate in the lesson. After reading the story, these students will then be able to engage in a hands-on story-retell activity where they will take the caterpillar and feed its belly with the foods that were found in the book based on the order that they were read in the book. So, let's begin. The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. In the light of a moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. One Sunday morning, the warm sun came up, and pop! Out of the egg came a tiny and very hungry caterpillar. He started to look for some food, and this is where I would incorporate the identifying of the foods and the labeling of the foods. On Monday, he ate through one apple, but he was still hungry. I would ask the students to identify the apple and label it with its proper label, and I would continue doing this throughout the entire book. On Tuesday, he ate through 2 pears, but he was still hungry. On Wednesday, he ate through 3 plums, but he was still hungry. On Thursday, he ate through how many strawberries? How many strawberries do we see here? 1, 2, 3, 4. He ate through 4 strawberries, but he was still hungry. On Friday, he ate through 5 oranges, but he was still hungry. Again, we would continue asking them to identify the make-believe food and label it with its proper label. If the student got it wrong, I would ask the student to try again, and if they couldn't get it right the second time, I would ask a peer to help them identify it properly. On Sunday, he ate through 1 piece of chocolate cake, 1 ice cream cone, 1 pickle, 1 slice of Swiss cheese, 1 slice of salami, 1 lollipop, 1 piece of cherry pie, 1 sausage, 1 cupcake, and 1 slice of watermelon. That is a whole lot of food. How do you think the caterpillar feels? Does he look like he feels okay? That night, he had a stomachache. The next day was Sunday again. The caterpillar ate through 1 nice green leaf, and after that, he felt much better. He looks much better. Did you ever have a bellyache? What did you do to make yourself feel better? Now he wasn't hungry anymore, and he wasn't a little caterpillar anymore. He was a big, fat caterpillar. He built a small house called a cocoon around himself. He stayed inside for more than 2 weeks. Then he nibbled a hole in the cocoon, pushed his way out, and what do you boys and girls think? What happens? He was a beautiful butterfly. Do you boys and girls, do you think that he's beautiful? I think he's beautiful. After reading the story, I will then introduce the very hungry caterpillar along with the foods that were introduced in the book. As you can see, the foods are not in the order that they were in the book. They're all mixed around. That way, the students don't easily identify what is what it is that the caterpillar first ate. This way, they have to look at it and try to find the food and think about what food that the caterpillar ate first. So let's do an example. I would ask the students what the first food was that the caterpillar eaten. It would be an apple. So I would ask the students to properly identify it. If they didn't identify it properly, I would ask a peer to help. And I will ask them to pull the food off of the mat and place it in the very hungry caterpillar's belly. And I would continue this until there was no more food left. Once there's no more food left, you would be able to see that, the students would be able to see that the caterpillar's belly is very fat. I would ask them, how's the caterpillar's belly? How does it look? Does he look fat? What do you think? Do you think he has a bellyache? And then I would ask the students what happens next. So the correct response should be, he builds a cocoon around himself. I would call one of the students up to build the cocoon around the very hungry caterpillar. Then I would ask the students, once the cocoon is built around the caterpillar, how long does the caterpillar stay in the cocoon? The correct response would be 2 weeks. Again, if the children have trouble, I would ask a peer to help. And then I would ask the students, what happens to the caterpillar when he comes out of the cocoon? The response should be, he becomes a beautiful butterfly. Now I would ask all the students to participate in this lesson. If there's not enough foods for all the students to participate, I would ask them to come up in pairs. That way they can help each other feed his belly. One could put the food in and one could stretch the belly out. Now that is the end of this lesson. We could also, at the end of the lesson, ask the students to act as though they're a butterfly. Make them do the motion of a butterfly. And we could also have follow-up activities with art projects. Maybe have them make a butterfly. Maybe put the words on a word wall. That way they can see the words and become familiar with them. They can understand what an apple looks like and how it's labeled, the correct spelling. Other follow-up activities may include making storybooks with the children based on the sequencing, and etc. Now this is the end of the lesson, and the purpose of the lesson, and hopefully what the children got out of it, was how to, for ADHD students, they are able to actively engage in an activity through the entire activity. They don't get distracted, and they're engaged in it because they're actually getting to play with the food and label the food. And it should also help with their reading comprehension. It helps them practice. It helps them strengthen. And it should also help them with story retell and how to appropriately engage with their peers. I really hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I hope you have a nice night.